My parents gave my sister a fancy beach house. They gave me a useless parking lot. You can always sleep under the stars, they joked, but later, when I made money from it, they wanted a share. I should have known that dinner was just another setup. My parents only invited me over when they had some agenda, usually to remind me I wasn't good enough, but I went anyway, still holding on to that little bit of hope that maybe, this time, they'd treat me better. I work as a mechanic. It's nothing fancy, but I'm good at it. I fix cars, I get paid, and I don't bother anyone. My sister Emily? She's their golden child. She's never had a real job, but they hand her everything like she's royalty. She could crash a car into their house and they'd still blame me. When I walked in, Emily was already there sipping wine like she owned the place. Dad was flipping through a newspaper. Mom was in the kitchen, pretending to be busy so she wouldn't have to look at me. Wow, Emily, I said, smirking. You actually showed up. Took a break from tire changing? I ignored her eye roll and sat down. Mom said this was important. Dad finally folded his newspaper. It is. We've decided to split our property. Emily perked up. She already knew she was getting something good. We're giving you the beach house, sweetheart, Mom said with a smile. Emily gasped. The one in Malibu? Mom nodded. It's yours now. I waited. Surely, there was something for me too. Dad turned to me, face blank. And Logan, you get the parking lot. I blinked. What? The old lot on 8th Street, Mom added, waving her hand like it was some big deal. It's land, do something with it. Emily burst out laughing. At least you'll have a place to sleep under the stars. Dad laughed too. It's been empty for years. Maybe you can sell lemonade. Mom tried to sound supportive. You always say you want to build something. Here's your chance. I just sat there. It wasn't even fake kindness, this was straight up trash. I remembered being 16, coming home from my first day at the auto shop, covered in grease but proud of my paycheck. Emily was whining about wanting a new car. Dad looked at me and said, "You're gonna smell like oil forever?" Mom added, "At least he's useful. Maybe he can fix your car for free, Emily." They bought her a brand new BMW that same week. Now here we were, same story. I took a breath and pushed my chair back. You're serious? Dad shrugged. Be grateful we gave you anything. Emily sneered. Maybe you'll earn enough one day to buy a real place. They laughed like it was the funniest thing ever. But I didn't argue. I just nodded. Okay. Mom frowned. That's it? No thank you? I stood up. Oh, I'll make something of it. And when I do, don't come asking for anything. Emily rolled her eyes. Can't wait to see what you do with a chunk of concrete. Dad muttered. Always so dramatic. I left without another word. They thought they'd humiliated me, but I was about to turn that parking lot into something they'd never expect. I stood in front of that lot. It was ugly, cracked pavement, weeds, a rusty sign. My parents didn't just give me nothing, they laughed while doing it. Fine, if they wanted me to fail, I'd make them regret it. The next morning, I filed permits to allow food trucks. If I had a slab of concrete, I'd make it earn. Within a week, I partnered with top food truck owners, tacos, burgers, coffee, even trendy vegan bowls. I took a loan from my boss at the auto shop, someone who believed in me. I set up lights, tables, music, and banners. 3 weeks later, that empty lot? It was a buzzing food court with live bands and long lines. That's when it got fun. A month later, after we went viral online, she showed up. Mom. She came in wearing her fancy coat, looking around like she smelled garbage. I was checking inventory when she walked up. So this is what you've done, she said, frowning at the crowd. I didn't look at her. Yeah, you gave me trash. I made it work. This isn't a real business, she said. I laughed. It's making more money than Emily's so-called influencer career. Her face twitched. Then Emily showed up, saw the place, and stopped dead. What is this? She snapped. A flea market? I grinned. Nope, a successful business. She scoffed. This isn't real money. I pointed at the packed lot. Then why are people spending their fake money here every night? Some customers clapped. Emily turned red. Mom, do something. Mom cleared her throat. We're just concerned. It doesn't seem stable. I raised an eyebrow. Like the beach house you gave Emily for free? Emily jumped in. You can't sell this, it's family property. I laughed. Funny, you didn't say it was family when you laughed at me for getting it. She glared. This isn't fair, you didn't earn this. I looked her straight in the eye. Really? You're saying that to me? She folded her arms. Selling it would be betrayal. I tilted my head. And dumping it on me as a joke wasn't? Mom tried one more angle. Well, if it's doing well, maybe we should partner. I burst out laughing. People turned to watch. You're kidding, right? You ignored me, mocked me, Gave me nothing, and now that I made something, you want a cut? Emily snapped. It's family money now. I stepped closer. You already got your share, live with it. Then I turned and walked back into my business. They stood there, speechless. They thought they broke me. But I was just getting started. I was in my office, a small shipping container I'd turned into my workspace, when my phone rang. It was Mom. I looked at the screen, then hit decline. She called again. And again. I just smiled. Clearly, they needed something. My food truck park had become the most popular spot in town. We had music, events, VIP areas, people loved it. I was making more money in a month than I used to make in a year. And now, suddenly, my family couldn't stop calling. A few days later, I was at the lot, checking on a delivery, when I heard a voice that made my stomach turn. Logan. I turned. It was Emily. She looked stressed, not smug like usual. I raised an eyebrow. Wow, you actually came to the parking lot. Something wrong with your car? She sighed. I need to talk. I checked my watch. You've got 5 minutes. She looked annoyed but went on. I need to sell the beach house. I blinked. You mean the house you bragged about? She ignored that. The housing market's bad, and I need cash. I smiled. Too many shopping sprees and fancy drinks? She didn't respond. I need $200,000 just to pay off some debts. I whistled. Yikes, that's rough. I turned to the delivery driver. Anyway, good luck. She grabbed my arm. You have the money. I pulled away. Now my business is good enough for a loan? Her face turned red. We're family, Logan. I laughed. Funny, last time, you all said I was a joke. What happened? She looked down. Please, I'll pay you back. I stared at her, then said, no. Her eyes widened. No? That's right, just like you all said no when I needed help. I'm not bailing you out. She looked shocked, then angry. You're really going to let me fail? I shrugged. Not my problem. And I walked away. The parents show up. A week later, I pulled into the lot and saw Mom and Dad waiting. Logan, Mom said, we need to talk. I sighed. Let me guess, Emily told you everything, and now you're here to lecture me. Mom frowned. This is serious. Dad added, we need your help, son. I raised an eyebrow. Now I'm your son again? Mom sighed. Your father's business is failing. We're in financial trouble. I tried not to smile. Oh? The family that gave Emily a mansion and gave me a cracked parking lot is broke? Shocking. Mom snapped. Don't be childish. Like when you laughed at me while I struggled? Dad groaned. We just need a loan. How much? $500,000, Mom said quietly. I laughed. You're kidding. Dad nodded. You can afford it. So now I'm successful? Mom lost her cool. Stop being a brat. We're your family. I stepped closer. Family doesn't mock you. Family doesn't forget you. Family doesn't show up only when they want something. Mom looked pale. Dad said, please, Logan. I shook my head. You made your choices. I made mine. I'm not giving you a dime. Mom gasped. You ungrateful. I raised a hand. We're done. As I walked away, Dad called out. If you walk away? I turned. Like you walked away from me? Silence. I nodded and left. They tried to ruin me. Saying no wasn't revenge. Watching them fail while I succeeded, that was. But they didn't give up. Soon after, bad reviews popped up online. This place is terrible, owner's rude, awful experience, smells bad, don't support this business, owner hates his family. I laughed. Nice try, Mom. Then a city inspector showed up. Someone reported a permit issue. I smirked. Let me guess, older lady, bitter daughter? He chuckled. I didn't say that. More complaints followed, seating problems, noise, food safety. They were trying to get me shut down. But I didn't panic. I got a lawyer, made sure every rule was followed, everything was solid. Then I fought back. I upped my marketing, held special events, invited influencers, grew my social media. I even rented the lot next door for a beer garden and local art markets. My business exploded. It was Saturday night, our busiest time. Music played, people laughed, tacos sizzled, the place was packed. Then I heard it. This place is a joke. It was Emily. She was drunk, crying, makeup smudged. Mom tried to stop her. Emily shouted, you think you're better than us? You're just a mechanic pretending to be important. People started recording. I just smiled. Perfect. I walked toward her, staying calm. Emily, leave. She staggered closer. You think you're better than us now, huh? I smirked. I don't think it, I just am. Her face twisted in anger. You're nothing. And then, splash, I didn't see it coming. She grabbed a drink from a customer's table and threw it at me. Cold beer splashed all over my shirt. The entire lot went quiet. A second later, two of my security guards tackled her to the ground. People gasped and whispered. Mom screamed, "Let her go, she's your sister." I brushed the beer off my shirt and turned to my head of security. "Call the cops." Emily's eyes widened in shock. "What? No, Logan, don't." I crouched down, speaking softly. "Actions have consequences." 10 minutes later, police cars arrived. Mom was panicking. "You're ruining the family name," she yelled. I just laughed. "Lady, you did that yourself." Emily was put in the back of a police car, crying and begging. She looked just like I did years ago when they humiliated me. But unlike them, I didn't care. Mom turned to me, voice shaking. "This is your sister, do something." I crossed my arms. "Oh, like you did something when you gave me nothing and laughed in my face?" She didn't have a response. I turned to walk back toward my customers. "Oh, by the way, hope the beach house is worth it." And I went back to my thriving business. They wanted to watch me fail. Now, they were watching me succeed. A week later, Mom and Dad showed up again. This time, they didn't look smug, they didn't laugh, they looked desperate. I was in a meeting with my event planner when I saw them standing by the entrance, awkward and out of place. For years, I felt small around them, not good enough, not worthy. Now, I was the one in control. I finished my meeting, letting them wait a little longer. Then, I walked over with my arms crossed. "You're back," I said casually. "Let me guess, Emily sent you because she's too embarrassed to face me?" Dad cleared his throat. "We need to talk, Logan." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, like when you laughed at me and gave Emily a mansion while I got a piece of junk?" Mom pursed her lips. "This isn't about the past." I chuckled. "Oh, it is, because if you hadn't treated me badly, you wouldn't be here asking for my help." Her eye twitched, but she stayed calm. "We're in trouble." I already knew what was going on. Emily had maxed out her credit cards trying to live like an influencer. Her beach house was close to being foreclosed. She kept refinancing it to fund her lifestyle. Dad's business was failing too. The economy crashed, and his partners bailed on him. They were sinking, and now, I was their only hope. Dad sighed. "Logan, we're family. Family helps each other." I laughed. "That's rich. You didn't care about family when you treated me like dirt. Now you're broke, and suddenly it's about family?" Mom stiffened. "You have more than enough to help us. Why are you being so spiteful?" I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Spiteful? Oh no, spiteful would be me buying your house just to kick you out." Their eyes widened. Dad's face turned pale. "You wouldn't." I smirked. "Wouldn't I?" I had been waiting for this moment. After Emily's meltdown and their attempts to sabotage me, I knew they'd come crawling. So, I made a plan. While they were drowning in debt, I was buying up property, and guess what? Their house, the one they had said wasn't mine anymore, was up for sale. And I bought it. Mom's face went pale. "No, you're lying." I pulled out my phone, showing the email. "Logan Reed, new property purchase confirmed." Dad's hands shook. "You bought our house?" I tilted my head. "You mean the house you told me wasn't mine anymore? The one where you let Emily treat me like trash?" Mom grabbed my arm. "Please, Logan, don't take our home." I pulled away. "Now you understand what it feels like to have something taken from you." She started crying. But I didn't care. Then, the final blow. I looked at them both and took a deep breath. "You know what? I'm not heartless. I'll give you the house." Mom gasped. "You will?" Dad let out a breath of relief. I smirked. "Sure, but there's one condition." They nodded quickly. "Anything." I pulled out a contract I had already prepared. "I'll let you live there, but I own it. You'll pay me rent, every single month, no delays." Mom's jaw dropped. "Logan, you can't be serious." I leaned in. "Oh, I'm dead serious." Dad swallowed. "How much?" I named my price. It was high, fair for the market, but high enough to make them feel it. Mom's face twisted in anger. "You're charging us to live in our own home?" "No," I said, grinning. "I'm charging you to live in my home." Silence. Dad sighed. "We don't have a choice, do we?" I shrugged. "Of course, you do. There are plenty of cheap motels in town." Mom glared at me, but she knew she lost. Slowly, Dad signed the contract. Mom grabbed the pen and almost broke it as she signed. When they were done, I took the contract and slid it into my pocket. "Pleasure doing business with you." I turned and walked away, leaving them standing there. Dad was rubbing his temples, and Mom was wiping her tears away, humiliated. They'd spent years belittling me, laughing at me, treating me like I was nothing. Now? I owned their home. I owned their future. I owned them. As I walked back to my business, I smiled. They thought I'd be nothing. Now, I owned everything. And they had nothing.